everyone, it's Cute Pants here. So today we're playing a game called Under the Fall Sky, Blood Covers Snow. And this game's actually made by one of my talented friend named Anne. And Under the Fall Sky, or in particular Blood Covers Snow, is actually part of a larger project of hers called Under the Fall Sky. And it's set in a dystopian era, and her other game to the series is called Idealize. I'll put that in the bottom here. But before we get started, let me change some settings. I usually like the text to be relatively, not fast, but like just all on the screen at once before they're like talking. And what I do know is that this game is fully voiced, so yay, I can't wait to hear all the voice actors too. New game.
As transient as flowers that sway under the force of the ever-changing seasons, humans do not escape the march of time.
Oh, auto.
A multitude of factors determine their survival. The weather, wild animals, nutrition. However, the biggest and most dangerous factor of their demise is themselves.
Jesus.
While a lion may be capable of killing one or two of its kind, a human can obliterate a city in the blink of an eye, killing thousands, if not millions, without a second thought. But what do they gain from it? What is their reason for such heinous acts? Is it the pursuit of power? The aching greed and bitter jealousy that consumes the heart of an individual? Or is it the perversion of war? The twisted joy in observing the pain of less fortunate souls? There may never be a simple answer to such a complex question in the myriad eyes of man. Many tales recount such tragedies. Today's story is one of them.
Oh.
Set in a world where people are forced to live within mobile cities, the arcs, a mere step outside might corrupt their fragile souls, turning them into savage monsters. In a world of imposed boundaries, to what end do these humans feel? Do they long for freedom, or do they fear it?
Probably fear it if you step outside then.
One of these poor souls is Mika, a miserable boy born during an ongoing 100-year conflict that enshrouded his meager existence. He has never known peace. Had he known that his actions would affect the lives of many, could he have taken a different course of action? Doesn't watching people discover the darkest depths of their being excite you?
Yes. Yes.
Mika! Hey, Mika! Are you sleeping? Wake up! Wake up!
Oh, a sharp pinch tore him painfully from his sleep, just as a young boy Mika thought about leaping to his feet and chastising the troublesome being who dared wake him up from peace. He was caught off guard by the innocent eyes of the perpetrator, just a few inches away from him.
What? What are you doing here, Ada? Leave me alone.
Oh, I'm really bored. Let's go on a walk together.
His haze of disbelief was cleared by a few seconds of blinking at Ada. Her audacity to waste Mika's time on something was so trivial vexed him.
I thought I told you to leave me alone. Are you dense or something?
Is it so wrong for me to want to spend time with my brother?
Oh, you're so annoying. When will it sink in? We aren't family. And never will be.
You are such a big meanie! I'll tell Dad!
Yeah, go ahead and run and tell your incompetent joke of a father. What's he supposed to do? Run crying to my mother? Damn. His hand gripped her arms tightly, dragging her to the side so that he was able to get up from the bed on which he had been sleeping soundly just a moment ago. With the final glare in the little girl's direction, he left her behind. From the corner of his eye, he caught up a glimpse of her teary eye, but that wasn't his problem. She only had herself to blame. He's being mean to her! Once outside, Mika was greeted by an ice-cold gust that wasted no time turning his nose and cheeks into a delicate shade of red. Allowing his gaze to wander over the barren yard, he saw local residents bustling around the camp, their minds focused on their daily tasks. The fact that days were getting shorter, the seasons colder, and resources scarcer meant that everyone was in camp, young and old, had to lend twice as much of a hand, if not 3 times as much. Curious, Mika slipped narrowly behind 2 rebellion members and shuffled towards the warehouse. The mechs, along with the cars, were parked there as well. Ow. He cautiously poked his head through the large gate. Everyone was absorbed in their work, just as they were in the yard, oblivious to his existence. While some were loading and unloading equipment into and out of the cars, others were working on the mechs. Almost hypnotically, he stepped towards a particular model in the right-hand corner of the hall. At times like these, he cursed not being an adult yet. When could he finally pilot it? When could he be like his father?
Oh, Mika, there you are. Ada was looking for you.
The familiar jovial voice of a man echoed through the halls in his directions, interrupting Mika's train of thought. A shiver ran down his spine. Is that her dad? His dad? Their dad? Straight from the frying pan to the fire. Tracking source of the voice, his eyes found Gabriel standing near his mech. The mere thought of it caused an impulse of rage to seethe quietly within Mika. That might look like their dad. There was still distance between the two of them. Mika thought he had a chance to turn around and make a run for it before being forced back into the next conversation, knowing he potentially started a fight again. However, this was wishful thinking. Mika wanted to see Gabriel even less than Ada, who irritated him immensely, yet there he was, blocking his path.
Hey! Where are you going? It wasn't my intention to scare you off.
Scare me off? Yeah, right. Where I'm going is none of your business.
You seem upset. Even more than you usually are. Did something happen?
Did something happen, he says? Why were you at his mech? Who said you could just touch...
His barking was interrupted by the grip of someone firmly wrapping an arm around his neck, pulling him backward.
Who's doing that?
As he looked up, he locked eyes with his mother. Although she had a smile on her lips, something was glistening in her eyes.
Well, my dear. Are we giving poor Gabrielle a hard time again? Huh?
Without giving her son a chance to retort, he put him in a headlock and rubbed her fist over his scalp.
Mom, stop! I surrender.
She carefully let go of him and patted him on the shoulder as if she were dusting him off. Her hand slid to his cheek, raising his head so he couldn't avoid her gaze.
I was the one who asked Gabe to check the machine.
But Mom!
No buts. I asked him to take a look because I know the mech means a lot to you.
Admitting defeat, he moved away from his mother and slumped his gaze towards the floor. In situations like this, he desperately wanted to start an argument. He just couldn't. Not with her.
Oh, Mika.
Mom! Dad!
Small footsteps hurried past him, and Mika saw little Ada leap into the arms of the Slender Man.
Oh!
Don't call her that.
Did you say something?
No.
The sound of Mari clapping her hands caused Mika to look up, startled. A sardonic grin crept onto her lips as if she had an epiphany, her gaze drifting between Gabriel and Mika. What is she planning?
Oh, I don't like seeing that grin on your face.
Me neither.
I just had a wonderful idea. How about the three of you take a trip to the nearby forest and collect firewood?
Is that
What?
a good idea?
Mari, I don't think that's such a good idea.
I think that sounds like the worst idea ever. No thank you. I refuse.
Yes! That sounds like fun!
See? Ada agrees with me. So it's decided.
Is it dangerous
The
though?
carrier baskets for the firewood must be behind the main building. At least, that's where I last saw them. Gabe, would you mind getting them?
The man grabs the little girl's hand and approaches the gate. The moment the two pass Mika, he noticed a mischievous grin on Ada's face, not breaking eye contact. Just as Mika was about to follow them with his hand hidden in his jacket pocket, he was stopped by his mother who gently grabbed his arm.
Yes?
Look, Mika, I know you aren't happy with this, but can you do me a favor and at least try to get along with Gabe? At least a little? For me?
They've only been in our camp for a year. How can you trust them so easily? What if he's a spy sent by those bastards?
Language, young man. Is Iran teaching you these naughty words again?
Sorry. What I'm trying to say is, what if he's a spy sent by those jerks from the Arks? And it's just being nice to you to betray us in the end.
You know exactly how unlikely that is. And no one could be a member of the Ark with a hybrid as a child.
She pointed her fingers at her eyes, the eyes sparkling a blood red color like Ada's. Even though Mika knows she was right, that uneasy feeling that had been growing in the pit of his stomach grew wider.
You worry far too much for your age.
And you don't worry enough for your age.
Hey, that's mean. All I want is for you to give him a little chance and get to know him better. He won't take your father's place, and I doubt he would even want to. And I think it would be good if you could become more friendly with Ada. I don't want you or her to be lonely. After all, you're the only children in this camp. Come on. Pinky promise?
Bewilderment spread across the boy's face as his counterpart swings extended his pinky towards him. Looking up at his finger, he saw Zonda grinning and bobbing her head from side to side impatiently.
I promise that I won't be too hard on the guy. And as for Ada, I guess I'll tolerate her. As long as she doesn't push my buttons.
Reluctantly, he wrapped his small fingers around hers, and just as he was about to withdraw, Mari took his wrist and swiftly pulled him into her tight embrace.
Ah, Mom, you're so embarrassing! Everyone's watching!
So, who cares?
Although he reminded her that they were not alone in the storehouse, she didn't let go of him. In fact, her grip grew even tighter.
I can't breathe! Oh, right. I get it.
Gasping for air, he tapped her upper arm. It was evident to him that she seemed reluctant to let him go, but to his relief, not long after, she eased her grip, sharing a gentle smile with him before taking a step back.
You should follow Gabrielle and Ada. Don't leave them waiting for too long.
Well, you were the one who stopped me.
And keep in mind what we just talked about.
Fine.
I love you.
Yeah, love you too, Mom.
Idiot. To her or to the other people? With her arms crossed in front of her torso, she watched her son leave the warehouse. As soon as he had disappeared from her line of sight, her shoulder relaxed in an instant and a heavy sigh escaped her lips. Oh, what's up? Why is raising children so difficult? Knowing the situation was far from easy for Mika, especially with the impending puberty, she couldn't help but feeling a little wary. Every so often, she caught her thoughts wandering and her eyes lingering to the mech. In the corner of the hall, it was his mech. Her chest instantly tightened. A pulsating pain spread rapidly through her upper body.
Kai.
No, I shouldn't. He is gone. It's been 8 years by now. I should get out of here to clear my head. Before leaving the hall, she glanced at the mech one last time, a mech to which so many beautiful yet painful memories were linked. Stepping out onto the open field of the abandoned industrial site, she could feel bricks in place of her aching heart. Once outside, she looked towards the exit of the industrial site and in the direction of the forest. A few hundred meters away, she hoped she might still be able to spot the silhouettes of Gabriel and the children.
Ah, there they are.
They were a long way off, and while Ada held tightly onto her father and Miko shuffled after them with his hand buried in his jacket pocket, she couldn't help herself from cracking a smile. Of course. I doubt he'll stick to our promise. He's my son after all, stubborn as hell. The still tranquility was short-lived as a loud sound of scraping metal disrupted her thoughts. Two mechs came into view just further west of the forest towards which the three were heading. There you are back. What a relief. There had only been one another time since the event 8 years ago where an extreme event had not made it back. Still, that particular feeling of unease resurfaced within Mari's mind every time. Like an internal nightmare, a ghost was clinging to her, wanting to drag her into the depths of the abyss, but replaying that terrible memory in front of her eyes repeatedly. The endless pool of blood, the completely destroyed mechs, empty, without bodies. Never in her life had she felt as helpless as she did that day. She had vowed to do everything within her power to keep herself from feeling that way ever again, if not for herself, then for Mika.
Boss? Hey! Boss!
Who's that?
Yes?
Without realizing it, the tank-sized machine had closed the distance to their camp and built themselves in front of the woman, casting a colossal shadow over her. With a swish, the window hatches of the wind machine flew open, revealing a dainty woman emerging from the left mech. Subsequently, a rugged middle-aged man emerged from the mech on the right. The young woman slid down the metallic cover and landed in front of Mari effortlessly. The man, on the other hand...
Quitting smoking would do you some good, old man.
Is that really how you should talk to your seniors?
See? You already got 1 foot in the grave.
You!
It's always the same with them. Despite the stark differences, the duo facing Mari was underlying an informal team. Esther was a young, known as an aggressor, and Aaron as a marksman. They complemented each other perfectly on the battlefield. They were equally invaluable.
So, boss, what were you thinking about so absent-mindedly that you didn't even notice us?
I have to agree with the brat for once. It's rare to see you daydreaming. After all, it was your keen senses that turned our little colony into one of the most renowned rebellion factions.
Yes. I'm sorry. It's just... Anyway, give me a report on the results of your expedition.
Avoiding it. For a brief moment, the young Esther looked up at her partner, biting her bottom lip.
Do you think we should tell her?
Oh, oops. I didn't read that fast
Tell
enough.
me what exactly.
Oh, it's nothing. Esta is just overreacting again?
I'm not.
Do you really want to bother our boss with something so...
Oran, shut your mouth and let Esther finish, or I'll assign you to Gabrielle for a while.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Anyone but that fucking guy.
Why does everyone hate him? With every word he spoke, Aaron made it everything but easier for himself. How Mark would have loved to break his neck on the spot, but that would have been a waste of good manpower, and that would have been something they couldn't afford to leave, given the circumstances. Aaron also seemed to have noticed this, as he quickly bit his bottom lip and took a step back, his arms crossed, and his gaze fixed on the ground.
So, Esta, please continue.
Sometimes I forget how scary you can be, boss. Fortunately, I think before I speak, unlike a certain someone.
Now did he really do that?
Esta?
Right.
Once again, the young woman's face darkened into a serious expression. Before coming closer, she carefully checked her surrounding, as if she was ensuring that no one else was listening. Or no one was listening in.
I think the military's here.
What?
You think what?
Huh?
Told you, Esta.
Shut your mouth. I wasn't talking to you. What makes you think that? Have you seen anyone?
It's not that I saw someone, but rather something. As we entered the mountain area behind the forest, I noticed mech traces in the ground, and the models definitely didn't resemble ours. And when I followed them, the tracks ended at a certain point, so I don't know where exactly they lead to, or to whom they belong, but I think it's something worth reporting.
This isn't just something worth reporting. This is damn serious. So if it's in the forest,
Shit!
then...
And? What are you planning to do?
Esta,
Yes, boss?
I want you to contact the main faction. Preferably yesterday.
The main faction? Boss, this is ridiculous!
Even though Mari would like to believe Aaron and hope that it was another one of Esther's crazy daydream, her gut told her it was a very different story, especially after the mission they carried out for the main faction just a few weeks ago. So a few weeks ago would have been idealization. If it was truly a mech from the Ark, they should start praying. Damn it.
Say, Dad,
Yes, baby? What's the matter?
when we're done collecting firewood, can you make me some hot cocoa?
I don't think we have any left. I mean, you know, we are short on resources. Let's do it this way. If we still have any supplies, I'll make you some. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing! Thank you, Dad!
And how about you, Mika? Huh? Mika?
Huh? What do you want?
Without realizing it, Mika's selection was fixated on the mechs not far away from them, approaching the camp. The sounds of the metal and slight vibration coming from the grounds were like music to his ears. What he give to...
I asked if you also want a hot chocolate when we get back.
No, I don't need it. I'm not a little kid anymore.
Who or what does he think I am?
Oh, okay then.
Mika met Ida's... Eyes met Ada's as she continued to cling to her father, shooting him a strange look.
Well, more for me.
What's wrong with her? Does she want to fight or something? Oh, how he wished he could throw a stupid line right back at her, but the promise he had made with his mother echoed through his head. So, biting his tongue and keeping his mouth shut, he trotted after the two of them, his focus settled on the fog escaping from him with every breath. Despite the scarcity of the snow on the ground, frigid winter temperatures seeped into the young boy's fingertips and toes. Ugh, why did I give in and agree to this? I'd rather just be in bed. Just a few minutes later, they arrived in the entrance to the forest. In front of them, gigantic, seemingly endless trees extended before their eyes. Their bare treetops moved in perfect harmony with the winter wind. With a shiver running down his spine, Mika buried his hands deeper into his jacket pockets, coming to a halt alongside the others. Just as he was about to proceed on his path, a thick, pink scarf suddenly whipped mercilessly across his face, obscuring his view.
Ah! My scarf!
Can't you take better care of your stuff?
She quickly pulled away from her father's hand and paced towards him tentatively. Rather clumsily and roughly, he wrapped the scarf back around her neck and tied it into a knot.
Not so tight, or I can't breathe.
If you get sick now, you'll just be an even bigger burden to me.
Thank you, Mika.
Instead of running back to her father as he expected, she paused and briefly looked up at him, which he returned with bewilderment. In the burst of chasing her away, he was taken back as she unexpectedly gripped his hand, her face adorned with a radiant smile.
Just because I put the scarf back on you doesn't mean... Ugh.
His mother's words were once again swirling inside his mind. To be honest, he was too tired and cold for any further protesting. He decided to tolerate her invasive behavior for now. With Ada in tow, he caught up with Gabriel, who had been idly patient for the two of them. The irritating smile that frequently annoyed Mika had returned and sat plastered across his face.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Together, they entered the forest with Gabriel as their guide. Mika felt colder with each step. He would have to fight with all his might to keep his body warm if it weren't for Ada's hand, warm and almost bearing in circles, his icy cold hand offering his body a little of warmth it craved. She seemed to have noticed his gaze on her as her grip tightened on her smile got even wider than Mika thought would have been humanly
Guess there's
possible.
something good about being a hybrid.
You think?
Well, you'd always have a warm body and wouldn't freeze in this godforsaken cold.
I've never seen it like that before. If you want to, we can hold hands more often. Then you'll be less cold.
No, I think I'll pass.
After Gabriel came to a halt, causing the two children to almost run into him.
Ugh. Can't you be more careful?
I think this might be a good spot for us to collect wood.
Is it? I feel like there's danger approaching. Like, he put his basket down and gestured.
But there aren't really many branches lying around here.
It's better this way than walking too deep into the forest. Otherwise, we might get lost or it might get dark before we leave. I would like us to get back at the camp before sunset.
Mika felt the pleasant warmth slipping away from him as Ada let go of his hand and hurried to her dad. He began picking up some scattered branches, cradling them in his arms.
Come, Mika. Please lend a hand.
I don't get it. What's so bad about going deeper into the forest? Are you scared or something?
Mika,
Are you
I
serious?
just told you the reason.
Nothing but excuses.
I don't understand what Mom sees in you. You're not even strong enough to protect anyone.
That's mean.
You can't even pilot a mech. All you do is write in your stupid books, and that's
Ouch.
it.
Gabriel's mouth opened a gap. In disbelief about what he had heard, he cleared his throat.
Just 'cause Dad's weak doesn't mean he doesn't do anything for the colony.
Does anything for the colony? My ass.
Hey! Stop right there, Mika! Come back here!
Oh god.
Leave me
I feel
alone!
like this sets up for bad things. He didn't listen to what His pretend stepfather told him he was fed up with his coward behavior. If they were going to do this, they should do it right. And he'll prove what loser he is. He'll collect much more fireworks than maybe his mother will finally realize that Gabriel isn't good enough for her. With motivation blurred in anger, he pushed deeper and deeper into the forest, leaving Gabriel's calls far behind as he was swallowed into the forest. Drip. Didn't read that fast enough. Mika had lost track of time, but with each passing second began to feel like an eternity. Gabriel's shouts had long since faded in the distance, and the only thing accompanying him, his growling, timid footsteps were branches dancing from the icy cold wind. Loath as he was to admit, he missed the warm hand that had given him so much comfort just a few minutes ago. Taking it back from his own thoughts, he shook his head. Stop going crazy. I will never accept them. Never. He still remembered that fateful day very well. It had been far too hot, and yet Aaron, like the sadist he is, made him run countless laps around the training ground. That evening, under an unforgiving cold rain, Gabriel collapsed at the camp gates, desperately cradling an unconscious Ada. That was the day his mother and Gabriel had met. Not a single day since was ever the same again. I couldn't stand that guy from the very beginning. Mika was always suspicious about his excessively friendly demeanor, a smile and eager to assist everyone without expecting anything in return. Someone like that could be only driven by ulterior motives. Hell, he didn't even yell at Mika, though he was so hard to him. He simply endured it. If he wasn't evil to the core, he might just be stupid. For him, there's no other explanation. He was just trying to get used to him, get him to like him. Why wouldn't his mother just realize that? Why was he the only one to see the truth? Whatever may come, he would never approve of him, especially not as a father. What right did he have to simply try and take his place? He's not trying to, though.
Why am I the only one? Why does nobody believe me? All of them are
Given into his feelings, he buried his face in his hands and slept to the ground. Only a vapid momentary warmth offered by the tears falling onto his skin comforted him. As if his body and his soul were longing for it, a large scream escaped his lips and echoed through the forest. At that moment, it didn't matter whether anyone heard him or not. Although his throat began to ache, he felt free. The crushing weight of feeling unseen and unheard had decapitated it, if only for that brief moment. Wary from the screams, he pulled himself laboriously back to his feet. The last of his tears had already dried on his cheeks from the freezing winds. Slacking off was not an option anymore. After all, he had a mission to fulfill. He had to prove that to his mother that she could live without Gabriel and Ada. He didn't need a new father or sister.
Just wait and see. I'll show
With
you.
newfound energy, he began to rapidly collect branches scattered on the ground and toss them happily into his basket. Within a few minutes, he had cleared the ground around him in its entirety. Huh, I bet they couldn't have collected as much as me yet. I should go deeper in the forest. Maybe I'll find even more. Fixed on his goal, he continued on his way. Come what may, he would. The sound of a branch snapping made his body freeze up. The noise hasn't been made by him. No, the source must have been hiding behind the dense undergrowth not far from him. He's in trouble! Maybe it was just an animal, but what if it was a chimera? No, that couldn't be. This region should have been cleared of chimeras. Initially, batting his cross, he eventually gave in and moved silently in the direction the noise originated from. He carefully pushed a thicket of branches and bushes aside and stepped into the wide clearing. In its center sat a man, a complete stranger.
Who's there?
You show
Show
yourself.
yourself.
At first, the stranger turned to look in all directions, but when their eyes met, his mouth swung open.
What? A child?
The man's shoulders relaxed silently, and
What are you doing out here so deep in the forest?
I could ask you the same thing. I've never seen you around here before.
I actually come from there.
the man pointed at the top of the step incline not so far from the clearing.
Well, I'm a mercenary. I was on that hill to get an overview of the area. But I lost my balance and fell down.
Come again? You fell down from up there? How the hell are you still alive?
You could say I was blessed with a lot of luck.
Is this his dad? Mika slowly walked closer to the man. As he came to a stop in front of him, he placed the basket in front of the ground before kneeling down for his eyes. He didn't know what made the sudden notice came to help from, but something about him made him curious. It's almost as he's seen him somewhere before. Okay, I start reading that fast.
What's got you so curious, boy?
I want to take a look at your leg. The way it's twisted. I doubt that you'll have much longer to live if you can't get up. Especially in the cold.
And why would you want to help a stranger?
Don't know.
Yeah,
You like it?
you're so aggressive.
I've got time.
With you in your own colony. In the absence of any elaboration, Mika began to search in his basket for a straight and robust stick. Once he had found one, he turned his attention back to the injury. The sight of it made him swallow heavily. It wasn't as bad as it looked, but it certainly wasn't in the best
Do you have
shape.
a camp somewhere around here? The only thing I can do right now is give you basic first aid. You would have to do the rest yourself.
Reaching into the depths of his jacket pocket, he pulled out a bandage roll. He always carried little things like this with him. Better safe than sorry. Being completely honest, he never thought he'd actually come to use.
Excuse me.
Mika recognized a spark of curiosity in the man's eyes as he moved closer to the leg. Being gawked at that made him a little nervous. Without waiting any longer, he positioned the leg in front of him in a relatively straight position so he can place a stick on it for the needed support.
Might hurt.
Don't worry. I've been through worse.
After a few minutes passed in silence, with great discipline, Mika carefully splinted the leg wrapped in the bandage around the stick and secured it in place. Why am I helping him? I don't even know him, do I? Maybe. Well, if I didn't help him, he might die. But is that my problem? No. The latter thought caused his mother's words to echo in his head. He already forgotten how often she drilled this into him. No matter what, if a person has done nothing to you is injured, you must help them. After all, this is what humans should do.
Your eyes are all red. Have you been crying, child?
No, don't call me that. I'm not a child anymore.
What's wrong with being a child?
Children are weak, and they can't protect anyone. Not even the people they love. They are pathetic.
That's a way to how he thinks about himself. For a moment, the stranger looked at him bewildered. The look at Mika couldn't really put a
What
finger
makes
on
you
it.
say that?
His expressions eluded.
Childhood is a beautiful thing. Not one child on this earth should be forced to grow up so quickly. What's your name, boy?
Mika.
Look, Mika. It's crucial to cherish your youth and the simplicity of life, to make the most out of every day. Because this moment is far too fleeting. You'll grow up soon enough. You can worry about things like that when you're older.
Old man,
You can call me Keenan.
Keenan, could it be that you didn't just hurt your leg when you fell, but also your head?
Maybe. Anyways, who taught you to take such good care of injuries? The way you've stabilized my leg is stellar.
My mother taught me. She insisted it'd come in handy one day. Guess she was right.
Now that I think about it, why are you so deep in the forest alone at that? Shouldn't your mother be with you?
Oh. Upon hearing his questions, we began to sour again, causing his grip on the end of the bandage to tighten.
Mom is at home. I'm here with an incompetent guy who wants to call himself my stepfather, and my fake sister.
I see. Aren't they treating you well?
Well, you should be able to stand up now.
Slowly, Mika got back to his feet. His knees began to tingle from him sitting for so long, reaching out his arms to help him up. To his surprise, Kano was even bigger than he initially expected. With all his strength, he had to use his own weight to be able to heave him up.
Man, you're heavy.
That's all muscles.
So, are you able to walk back to your camp on your own, or do you need help?
Yeah, I think I should be.
Mika! Mika, where are you?
Kan's silence was interrupted partway by a familiar yet unnerving voice. Mika swiveled towards the undergrowth. That was the voice that was protecting from. Moments later, the blonde girl stumbled out of the thicket, accompanied by a loud rustle of bushes.
Watch it!
Rustling of bushes. Unintentionally, almost autonomously, his legs moved towards her. Rather harshly, he pulled her back on her legs and brushed off the dirt off her clothes. An exasperated sigh dissolved in the awkward silence.
There you are.
You really should be more careful. If you get your dress dirty, I'm going to be the one who has to wash it again.
Thank you, Mika.
Is
Hey,
that
Dad!
it?
I found him!
It wasn't long before Gabriel stumbled out the same undergrowth. His hair was all rustled and his glass almost slid off his nose.
Thank God. Do you know how worried I was? You stubborn boy!
Without Mika's picture, Gabriel grabbed him by the arm, pulling him into an embrace. How could he could feel his slender body trembling. Was it from the
Please
cold?
don't ever run away like
No,
this
of course
again.
not. He was worried about you.
Ever.
Oh my
And
god.
at least if you do, run home instead.
Fine, fine. Now let me go.
Why is he so overdramatic? After being readily released from Gabriel's embrace, he stumbled back to catch his breath. His gaze fell over the basket on their backs. A slight grin had formed his lip. A grin so wide it hurt the corners of his mouth.
You seem to be
They are
okay.
completely empty.
That's
He
the most
won.
important part, but tell me, what are you doing here?
I helped that man there. He was injured and...
What man? He turned to center clearly where he pulled an injured man back to feet a few seconds ago. However,
Where is he?
was there anyone there? How is this possible? Why are children here? Kenan managed to shelter himself behind one of the board trees, avoiding discovered by the girl and man. He was almost blown by the boy already. As soon as the three had left the clearing and the sounds of their presence has faded, he suddenly limped out of his fighting
This is
spot.
bad. Real bad.
His attention drifted to the edge of which he had fallen earlier. He wondered if his comrades were already out looking for him. He had to return soon, or they'd run into the children. By the time he reached the base, the landscape had begun draped with approaching light, and the temperature falling to sub-zero digits. He saw a duet of shadows scurrying frantically towards him.
Commander! Where have you been? We've been worried sick.
The two rushed towards him were where his direct subordinates, Nahum and Yona. While Nahum was always somewhat energetic and talkative young man, Yona was quite the opposite, a reserved and introverted young woman.
What happened to your leg?
While exploring the area, something happened and I fell down a hill.
A hill?
Something happened?
Don't worry, it should be healed by now.
Man, Commander, what I wouldn't give to be a guardian like you.
Don't be foolish, Nahum.
The taller woman elbowed her companion sharp into the ribs, causing him to gasp for
It
air.
hurts.
Grow up.
A gentle smile graced the man's lips. The banter between the two always reminded him of his own children. Time and time again, little Noah would do everything in her power to cheese the reaction of the somewhat calm Gaiden.
What's on your mind,
Gaiden?
sir?
I think that's how we pronounce it.
So the injury's still... Yona! What's wrong with you?
I told you not to be a fool. Our commander wouldn't be set back by such a minor injury.
Who was it that said there would be no children in the rebellion camp?
It was in one of the documents written by the professor. Besides, this is a warrior colony. They never have children around.
Cam fell silent and scratched his chin, a heavily pang began to clutch his
May I
stomach.
ask what made you think about that, Commander? Could it be that you came across these individuals? I knew it. How many children did you see?
I've only seen 2, and not directly in their camp. So is anyone's guess how many more there actually are?
Who cares if there are children there or not? It's not like they cared about that while they wiped my home off the map.
For once, I have to agree with him. Better to put them out of their misery before they turn into depraved monsters themselves.
Shocked, he glanced as the two subordinates taking a step back as he struggled to believe
They're
his
still
ears.
children. Even if they're part of the rebels, the rebellion's wrongdoings don't extend to them. They're innocent. It makes us the very same monsters you speak of. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I expected you two to know better.
Commander, forgive me for overstepping my boundaries, but we have very little choice. Our mission is to wipe out the entire camp and all its people. No exceptions. Not even you can avoid those orders, because they come from Her Highness herself.
The fact that half the royal family were wiped out in the attack means that she takes this very personally. And let me remind you that Her Highness's 6-year-old son was also a victim.
The young man crossed his arms behind his head. A terrifying grin grew on his face. Even Cannon, a man hardened by the cold steel of long military career, was overcome
We'll go to great
with a
lengths to
brief
carry
shiver.
out this mission for Her Highness. The chance to finally see the Deathbringer of the rebellion again and rip away everything she holds dear gets me excited. If you'll excuse me, sir, I'll be getting ready now. I can hardly contain my excitement.
Nahum. He simply hasn't been the same since that day. I hope his desire for revenge doesn't cost him his own head one day.
chilling landscape came from his eyes as he wandered over the base. A week ago, he set off to the railroad. Oh my god, damn it. Each and every one of his troops harbored a burning desire for revenge. He knew that each of them would gladly give their life for it if it meant that they could take even a single rebel down with them.
If I may, we should begin preparing ourselves. The other units are already on standby. Many of them are in a similarly joyful mood, like that fool. I hope you know what I mean by that, Commander. Unfortunately, your personal ideals and morals will be ignored today. You'll inevitably have to accept this.
Hey, Brad, don't forget this.
Hey! Careful! Don't just throw stuff around.
You should just be more cautious. If you're not careful, you'll eventually catch a stray bullet in that airhead of yours.
Stop arguing. We have an important mission ahead of us. The last thing I need right now is two quarreling dogs yapping at each other.
Sorry, boss.
After a long and heated debate, they finally agreed to set off the spot for Esther had mentioned right before sunset. Even though it might end up being nothing, Mari knew she wouldn't be able to put her mind to ease if she didn't see it for herself. Time wasn't on their side. If the military was really nearby, they had to get there before them, and at a time they were at least alert. It had to be at night.
What are you all doing? Are you going on a trip?
Little Ada's bubbling voice echoed through the warehouse. Her small, brisk steps grew instinctively louder before rapidly stopping in front of Mari's mech. Ada looked up curiously towards the mech's imposing stature. Oh no, I was hoping they wouldn't come back until we left already. Mary swiftly pulled herself out of the cockpit and slid down the mech to get the young girl. Feeling she could feel the confused and concerned look of Gabriel and Mika on her as she made her way towards her and Ada. To her surprise, only Mika's basket was filled to the brim with a bouquet of twigs and branches. To die. Mari sensed the girl's warm hands clapping around her, all around marred by wide puppy eyes. Her poor heart tightened. What should she tell her? What should she say to Gabriel and her son?
Esther and I are only going on a teeny tiny expedition.
Again? Weren't the two of them just coming back from one?
On days like this, she cursed the boys quit.
My man. How's it going? Have you been ordered to collect resources again? Ooh, come with me for a sec. I'll show you something really cool.
He slung one arm over Mika's shoulder and the other around Ada's waist to lift her up. With the two of them in tow, he dragged the children out of the hall, drowning out Ada's grumbling by completing Mika's basket of twigs.
Let me go!
If that was great protest, the children were successfully moved from the hall. Mari could feel the rigid crick on her neck slowly begin to unravel.
Mari, what's going on?
How should I put this? The military is here.
What?
It's just a maybe for now. Esta said she saw tracks during the expedition. We're planning to leave and take a closer look around the area.
Do you know what this means?
I know. That's why we're going to the spot as a precaution. Please don't say anything to the children. I don't want them to be more worried than absolutely necessary.
Mari.
It'll be fine. We will be fine.
Are you gonna be fine? Oh wow. I didn't expect a kiss, but okay. Standing on tiptoes, she placed her lips on his cheeks As she's starting to break from his, he pulls her closer. This time he closes her lips with her. She senses his wordless desperation and uncertainty, the fear of letting her go into the unknown.
Time out, time out. Leave me some air to breathe. What's the matter? You're acting like I won't come back.
Don't say that! Oh my god! That's like a death flag! Clearing her throat, Esther drew attention to herself. She
We
monitored
don't have
her
much time, boss. I think we
motioned
better
to her
get this over
shores.
with as soon as possible.
You're right.
She closed her hands around Gabriel's for the last time and gave him a
Please
gentle
take
smile.
good care of the children. I know Mika can be a handful sometimes, but he really doesn't mean it, and...
I know. Don't worry. I'll take good care of him. I promise. We'll see each other again tonight anyway, right?
Right. Thank you.
Maybe.
Would you like to say goodbye to them?
It's like,
No. Better not.
nah, okay. I feel like that's bad. She should have said goodbye. The ever-darkening landscape quickly passed by the windows of Mari's men. Aaron was right behind her as they followed Esther, who gracefully navigated the group through the dense forest. While she knew that her attention should be solely on the mission, her thoughts often wandered. I hope Mika is behaving. Hope everything turns out well.
Hey.
Everything will be fine.
Boss, come on. Pay attention. We can't have our leaders spacing out on us.
Yeah, sorry.
We're entering range. Just a few hundred meters to go.
With each passing moment, Mari's hands grew sweatier, causing her to tighten her grip on the controls of her mech. After a few more cautious paces, they were greeted by the wide wraps of expansive meadow. Sorry. The clearing was veiled by colossal shadows cast from a nearby hill that encircled them.
Here we are.
At the foot of the hill, a young woman came to a halt and pointed out the front legs of what looked like a craving from the distance. It was impossible for Mari to recognize anything from her current position. She carefully stepped closer, with the headlights pointed at the indentation her mech conjured at a holographic image of the zoomed-in area displayed on the windshield. To her luck, the frost is practically etched over the marking into the ground, making it easier for her to investigate. After the foreboding realization sank in, a lump formed in her throat, making it difficult for her to breathe.
They... are...
Here? Choking her words, she didn't want to. No, she couldn't say it. She knew best. After all, they were the same. The same trust left behind on the day that she found her fiancé's mech. How could she ever forget them? The day had engraved herself into her memory, just like the tracks on the ground right in front of her.
They're here.
Are you for real?
From now on, move cautiously. Don't make even the slightest noise. Avoid all attention to yourself unless absolutely necessary. Do I make myself clear?
Roger, boss.
She attentively closed her eyes for a moment, pulling in the warm air of her heated mech. With each exhale, her trembling body calmed down a bit. Eventually, she forced her eyes open, her gaze limp and expressionless as a defiance to her growing fear. I can't show any weakness, not now, not when the lives of my colony, my family, and especially if Mika are at stake. Her sight kind of scanned from the mark to the top of the large hill. The dazzling full moon stood above them.
Did you also
enveloping
investigate
everything
the
in
hill
its
during your
brilliant
expedition?
The hill? No, it wasn't assigned to us.
light. Oh.
To be honest, the zone ended right here.
Follow me.
Boss,
Okay.
what are you
I
planning?
see.
I have a hunch.
In lieu of elaborating any further, Mari backed up from the mech and angled the mechanic legs towards the ground, looking through the windshield onto the top.
Surely she doesn't want to.
Yep, she wants to. Without her comrade being able to finish the sentence, Mari let go of one of the locked control sticks, causing the mech to shoot upwards, like a tense spring when released.
Yes, she does.
Yep.
That's
I
our
guess they're
boss.
going.
Didn't you just tell us not to make any noise and to keep quiet?
Well, with the tips of her mech's legs, she crawled onto the rock's face. She paused for a moment to make sure she was in a secure position. After checking the status of her mech and its standing, she slowly began to move. Pulling herself from the steep incline, her body pressed deeper into
Are you
the
guys
soft
waiting for
leather
an
of her
invitation?
seat.
We've got no time to spare.
It took only a few seconds for her to reach the top. Looking down from above, the distance of the ground looked even greater than before. When she had made sure the others had followed her, she turned to the air stretching across the hill.
I fucking knew it.
Her eyes reconfirmed her suspicions. The military camp she had silently pleaded to not exist lay manifest before her. Strangely, the camp lay vacant. The tent's lights were turned off. It almost looked deserted.
I can't believe it.
Almost looked deserted.
They really are here. Guess the brat was right for once.
I've been telling you this whole time. Why don't you ever believe what I have to say?
Esther jerked aside, and Samantha mimicked by her mech draping forward slightly. Ignoring her theatrics, Erin rolled her eyes. Upon regaining her composure, Esther's eyes darted rapidly from side to side.
But why is nobody here? Surely they'd have heard all the noise we were just making.
What do you think, boss?
They're at the base. It's strange. It looks like they already left kind of abruptly, as if Hemirs had been nearby. But that can't be it. After all, we cleared the region regularly.
Should I hop out and take a quick look?
No, you should not hop out.
Yes.
Do not hop out. Don't hop out. No! Oh my god, she's gonna die! Without a moment's hesitation, the hatch of Esther's mech flew open, exuding a huff of steam. Out of the corner of her eye, she could make out her common shadow swiftly slipping out and scanning all directions with a rifle in hand. Arriving at one of the tents, she meticulously lifted the curtain and dashed past the drapes after confirming no one was inside.
Empty. How strange. The beds are all made properly, even though the rest of the place looks like a complete pigsty.
Oh no. Hesta, return to your mech.
They're
Now!
at this.
What? Why?
Do what I tell you and...
Do it. Jesus. A pleading words were shattered by a deafening shrill, a sound so menacing that it shook Mari to the core and made her blood swell. The silhouette of her commander slumped to the ground like a doll's whose strings had been cut. It lay dormant, notional and devoid of life.
Brad, that's not funny. Hey, answer me!
Silence, but nothing but silence. It was more crushing than the sound that caused Esther to fall over. The headlight of Erin's mech directed to focus on the twisted shape spread on the ground her body. They were met with a vacant, piercing stare of her wide brown eyes. Disfigured, her head was contorted in their direction, while her body pointed in a completely different one. The burning sensation pushed its way through Mari's throat. Unable to properly process what she'd seen, she looked away. Her heart didn't know whether to tighten or tear itself apart. This is clearly a trap, and they walked right into it. She had allowed Esther to walk right into the permanent jaws of the enemy. It was her fault. Yep, it sure was. Where are they? Where are they hiding? She refrained from moving a single muscle. She knew that a single wrong move would be fatal to them both. I am gonna end the video here because I think it's like right at this first spot, and I've been recording for a while, but I'm excited. If you guys played Ideal's Eyes, you actually meet Yona, which is like the military's, I guess, like the right hand person, and then you also met Esther as well as Aaron earlier, as well as Mika too, or her too. So yeah, okay, well, I'll see you guys later. Bye.